What is the spring like for you? Obviously, back for another year, and what's kind of been your focus this spring?
No, it's been exciting. It's good to be back for another year and just make an emphasis on what we left off of last season. So the emphasis has just been consistency, making sure that we're preparing the way that we need to, so that when our time comes, we can go put points on the board, and then do the field position battle when we need to punt. So emphasis for me has just been consistency. A lot of guys talk about, and the Masters, I've been hearing a lot about routine and just doing the same thing over and over again. So that's been my main focus, is just doing that same swing over and over again, so I have no issues there.
What's your distance at, maybe compared to what it was this time last year? How much is your leg growing with strength?
I think my leg is getting a lot stronger. We've been emphasizing workouts so that we can get the quads bigger and stronger, and then in turn we've been doing a lot of mobility work, because it's the flexibility piece that's going to make the ball go further. So distance is going very well now. I'm starting to consistently hit them 50, 55, getting up to that 60 range. So yeah, I feel like I'm a lot stronger in that area right now.
49 field goals over the last 2 seasons, second most in the NCAA over that span. I mean, you've proven a lot, Jonah. Where do you want to get better, though?
Where I would like to get better is just, consistently being close with my guys, the snapper, the holder, because without them, I'm not able to execute and do what I need to do. So just keeping that tight-knit group is what's important to me, so that we can have that connection, that rhythm, so that when we go on the field, that we can all execute together and then celebrate afterwards.
How big of a deal is it to have a new holder?
It's been a transition right now. Everything's been good, though. It's just kind of just right where we left off. Obviously, having Connor Riddle as the holder, that was amazing 3 years with him, just because everything that he did, it was just so smooth and very quick. But we've added James into the mix, and he's been doing an absolute amazing job for us. And so I have no issues with trust when we go out on the field. I know he's going to get that ball down, and we're going to execute what we need to.
When a holder comes to you and says, "What do you need from me? What do you need from your holder?"
Yeah. Just, learning that. I mean, he was our backup holder last year. So, I mean, he was in the transition of, getting snap holds and then some kicks in. So I just told him we just need the ball down. You get it in the spot, make sure the op time is really good, then we're going to be able to execute what we need to. And that's just the big emphasis. But, I've had no problems with James. He's been doing really well. And he knows his role when it comes to the holding position. And he knows that it's the connection between him and I, and then the long snapper as well, for us to go to the job, because I can't do what I do unless it's, good snap, good hold. And right now we have a really good operation going, so everything's been very smooth.
When you talk about the connection, are you also talking about the 3 of you or 4 or 5, the whole group getting away from football too?
Yeah, whole group. We're very close. We always mess around with each other outside of football. We'll come together and hang out sometimes. It's not very often that we get together. But when we're here at football, we make sure and we keep each other accountable. And that's the biggest thing. If there's things that we need to improve on, we always mention it to each other, so that we can all keep each other accountable, so that we can continue to improve our game in the area that we're in.
You obviously have aspirations of playing at the next level. I know even like 2 years ago you had that big year, and then maybe you had a decision to think about. I mean, were you thinking like last year was hopefully going to be your last year? I mean, how'd you kind of look at the last couple of years and what you did? And you're obviously back. What do you want to do or need to improve this year, obviously, to prove that you're ready?
A lot of it was, I was thinking about it last year, but a lot of it too was just like I just didn't want to make the wrong decision. So it was kind of just more like a gut feeling. I wanted to do what was best for me, and then I also wanted to do what was best for the team. Thinking over it, I've been to 2 Mountain West championships now in my career here, and so I wanted to come back in and go to another Mountain West championship game and win it this time.
What's your understanding in terms of, everyone can look at how many field goals you make, but I mean, is it distance? Is it percentage? What kind of stuff have you been told that the NFL looks at? Because everyone's situation obviously is different.
Yeah, I think those mid-range shots, it's just like how consistent can you be there? And I think it's just a trust thing, like for example, the Dallas Cowboys kicker, when he was having that little hiccup, everybody was kind of worried when he went out there. Oh, is this going to go in or not? And so I think that's what they look for, is just, the confidence that the kicker carries with them, and then just being out and going through your routine so that you can hit a consistent straight ball every single time.
How difficult is the position to make in the league? It seems like there's not a lot of turnover, and most teams don't have a backup. They'll go get somebody, from another organization or somebody that's a free agent. So
right.
Is it the hardest position numerically to make?
I think it definitely is a hard position, just because there are so many, like, I mean, you look at a wide receiver, cornerback, or like those kind of positions, they have a lot of those guys. You know, the kicker position is very minimal, so it's just, you know, they pick and choose who's the right fit for their team. And I think it just comes down to that. Outside of that process, I really don't know much about the process yet. But right now, I'm just focused on being here, being present with my feet in this facility, and going to win a Mountain West championship.
Jonah, how close you are with your family. We're talking about James, and he said last year that his mom was battling breast cancer, and he's in a country he's never lived in before, and he's playing a sport that he wasn't familiar with. Like, just what was it like to watch him go through all that, and how do you think he handled all of it?
I think he handled it great. It's kind of one of those things where you wouldn't even know that was like the situation back at home, and I think our guys just did a really good job of taking him underneath our wing, and letting him know that he has the absolute potential to thrive here. And I think that was the biggest thing that gave him the confidence to come in here and execute and do what he does. And so, like with that story that he has, it's amazing how he carries himself every single day, and it's amazing the confidence he brings on the field in his position.
Is that something? So did he tell you guys that his mom was going through that? Or?
Yeah, he told me about it, and I've known about it for a while now. But I mean, obviously, I don't say anything about it because it's not my business. But I'm always there to help and encourage him and motivate him, just because I see the potential in him. And so me and him go hand in hand on making sure that we both reach the potential that we know that we can get at.
Have you noticed anything different about kicking into the new scoreboard?
It's been funny. It was kind of distracting at first, but now it's just, I've looked at it long enough every single day when I'm walking by in the hallways or something like that, it's there, and it kind of feels like we've, had it for longer than we have. So,
Does it change the wind pattern? Like, does it make it feel different on the field?
hopefully it makes it less windy outside. Hopefully it blocks the wind a little bit, but for the most part, I don't think it's really going to change wind patterns all that much. But from a kicker standpoint, we don't really want to pay attention to those things, because even if there is wind, we still have to go through our same process. We still have to kick the ball how we do every single time that we go through that process. So in turn, that's just not really a focus that we have. We just go out and we make sure that we're consistent in the positions that we're in.
When you kick the ball, do your eyes ever go higher than the football? I mean, I've always wondered, like TV angles in the NFL with those big giant end zone scoreboards, it's flashing at you. It's like neon flashing at you.
Right.
But outside of that one look, do you ever raise your eyes above the football? Do you notice that stuff?
With that kind of stuff, like this north end zone, we have that video board, and there's letters on top of that video board, and usually I pick out a letter on that board as my aiming point.
Okay.
Like, that's where I want to get the ball up. So that's where I focus on as my aiming point, so that when my leg comes through, I'm making sure that my follow through goes right to that letter. And then obviously I've said it about my dad too, him being there. So I just spot him out, and then I just make my aiming point higher up so that I can, get my leg up and through to that point. So we'll have to see on this other video board if they got letters on the screen that I can, kind of spot out as an aiming point. If not, I'm just going to have to adjust and continue to execute.
Is there anything different? Like, isn't DeMario doing more of the special teams now, or is there anything different in terms of the coaching, in terms of working with you? Or?
It's been great. Just the communication's been on point. He's awesome coach. We love Demo so much in that spot, because every single time if we have a hiccup or a mistake at practice, he'll take that 20 seconds to evaluate, ask you what went wrong, and then in turn he'll tell us to get some reps on the sideline, so when our next opportunity comes up, and we'll be ready and mentally prepared for it.
It sounds like in the past that a different assistant coach is kind of taking a different unit, and now he's more kind of heading up most of it himself. Is that the case?
Yeah. He does a really good job, and then Coach Miller, he helps out too as well, and then obviously Coach Al will come in and he'll give his pointers, and basically it's awesome because we have one guy that's in charge of special teams, but then everybody comes together, because that's realistically in special teams, that's when the whole team comes together. So the whole staff comes together in that moment. They each have individual spots that they coach up on special teams, and so that's an emphasis for us, is we have our offense and defense, and then when it's special teams, our whole family, our whole brotherhood comes together, and we all work alongside of each other in that area.
One more about James. He made his American football debut in Corvallis, against a Pac-12 school on national television.
Yeah.
How wild is that?
No, that's crazy. I mean, the kid, he's spectacular. There's moments where we'll be at practice and I'll just be standing there and I'll be like, hey, punt it to me. And it's just right there, you know, like it's just an absolute dot and I don't even have to move to it. He just hits it right to me. As far as the Corvallis game, I mean, that's a pretty big game to start off your American football career. But I think he handled himself very well and that, like, you know, got the nerves out. But then after that, we need to lock in, prepare ourselves mentally. We know the feelings that we get now, the emotions from having a packed stadium. And I think in turn, he's been able to like really just develop into a punter and be able to control those emotions and keep that mentality straight to go out and do his job.
How excited are you to get in front of Bronco Nation tomorrow, and not only you, but maybe your teammates too, and have scrimmage?
I'm very excited. Very excited. You know, it's awesome coming back from my senior year, and I'm excited with this new brotherhood and family that we have. Still, emphasis is on the family, and you know what makes this experience a lot better is having Bronco Nation and Albertsons Stadium cheering us on. So I'm just very excited for the spring game and to see the fans come out to support us.
Are you still at kickoff, and who else is working with you on that?
Yeah, I do kickoff, and then me and Wyatt Redding, we switch off. So
the plan is for you to be the guy. That's what
Yeah.
you're working toward right now.
yeah, that's what I'm working towards.
Because it was you and Will last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you planning this, I mean, regardless of what happens professionally, are you planning for this to be your last year here, or will you consider using a COVID year, maybe if you're not ready for the NFL after this season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating for it to be, you know, my senior year, but we'll see what we get to. You know, my big focus is to come back in another year because I wanted to help my brothers get to another Mountain West Championship game. So that's the focus on right now, that we all have to work together and we all have to do our jobs to be able to get to our common goal, and that's to win a Mountain West Championship. So that was a big reason why I wanted to come back, is because I wanted to be a part of that. And the new team, the new players, and the new team that we would have, and the coaching staff, that's just something that excited me to come back and be a part of it. So I'm happy I made the decision that I made, and I'm glad to get on the blue for another time, another year with my brothers.
How do you watch film? Do kickers watch film?
Yeah, we watch a lot of film.
Yeah.
We basically digest all the kicks that we did at practice, and we go through. And I mean, obviously, we have a coach that helps us with it, and just as another set of eyeballs, just be like, okay, what was your mental thought process going into this rep? We call them swing thoughts. What was your swing thought? With your process and all that. So we watch a lot of film. We digest it. We make sure that if we made a mistake, we make sure that doesn't happen again. And then it's just like our opportunity to kind of like see what we can't see in the moment, and then be able to improve that process when we go out and do it again.
Will there be a time tomorrow where you'll stop and you'll do some special teams work during the spring game? Is there a design set scrimmage for you guys tomorrow?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, we'll add in field goals and some kickoffs and some punts and stuff like that. So as far as specialists, you'll see them out on the field getting some good quality reps tomorrow.